Check, 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 check.
Oh, way to go. You always fuck it up.
Yeah. Well, that's just because the audio thing is up.
Yeah, I know.
But I think we're good. We're good now.
We good?
Yeah. We got bars and shit.
Oh. Oh, shit. I didn't know we were recording.
Yeah. Oh, no. No, we're
You
good.
always fuck it up.
All right.
All right.
So. Welcome to Toucan Rant. We're just two toucans with two different kinds of cans tonight. Who can rock? Because we are juiced up. I'm JD.
I'm Jeremy.
And how you lovely folks out there doing? This week, and maybe subsequent weeks, we're going to be trying something different. We're going to be sober. And we'll see if that helps us educate you, elucidate you a wee bit better than we had been in our inebriated state.
Rather than just ranting about the same shit over and over and over and over and over again.
But we'll definitely still have rants and tangents.
And probably a couple arguments.
Yeah.
Maybe a couple bare knuckle brawls.
Ooh. It's great
Just
that
kidding.
it's
Just
great
kidding.
that it's great that we can't brawl when we're drunk, but when we're sober, shit's gonna fly.
Yeah. Now we're getting mad. It's usually the opposite for people, but I find the more I drink, the more complacent I get. I'm just like, whatever, just leave me alone. I need another beer. All right.
You just start dampering that whole warrior spirit that you got going on.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know.
It.
I don't have the warrior spirit. I don't know. I've been attacked a couple times, hit in the head, punched in the head. I don't know. I don't get angry. I'm not hulked out or anything. I'm fucked up. I don't know, man.
I'd like to see you tear your shirt off sometime. Oh, that would be so great.
I don't know that I could.
Oh, if we were at a comic shop and somebody fucking comes and talks to you, you just rip it off and yell Hulk smash.
I'm not gonna lie. The other day, I don't know what I was doing, but it's man, I think I was just driving in my car, and I was like, man, I really miss going to the comic shops and digging through the bins and finding stuff. And then I really thought about it, and I'm like, but it is kind of nice not having random people come up and talk to me, because I don't know, I've always been told I'm always look angry, and I'm not the most approachable person. I've gotten that commentary on work evals and shit, I'm not an approachable person. And I always want to tell people, come out with me to the stores, any store. Somebody will fucking come up and talk to me. The other day, I had an old guy, totally invade my space bubble in this COVID case. And I looked at it, I was like, you need to back up. Whoa, man, I was just trying to be friendly. I don't care. You're way too fucking close, dude. Back up.
You need a sign that says no friendship bubble.
I just need a sign that says go the fuck away. And you know what? I bet people would still come up and talk to me.
Well, yeah, because
I don't get it.
You'd be an interesting sight, and they'd want to talk to you, have you explain your weird apparatus.
I don't know, man. I do miss going to the comic shops, though. And being able to, really dig. I always feel guilty now because they all have, limits on how many people can be in there. And I'm like, all right, I don't want to take too long because I care about the other people and I care about the business and the traffic. But then there's other people that would spend an entire day in there and not give two fucks about the next person. So I don't know why. I'm very overly alert.
Conscientious
to that shit. I don't know. It's a weird thing.
Pretty sure you can just do whatever at Powers and they don't really care too much.
Yeah, no, but I was thinking about some of the shops we went to in Milwaukee. We haven't done a Milwaukee run in quite some time.
It's because we do floppies now.
Well,
that's a trade place. So that's what I always went there for.
Yeah, that's true. The one is, but there were some other ones that we had gone to that had decent bins. That one that used to be a total mess, but then they cleaned up. There was a lot of back issues in there. And I found some decent stuff. I don't know, it's tough. But yeah, Powers is probably the best for floppy back issues. I would like to go up there again sometime. I guess that probably wouldn't be as big of a deal.
Road trip.
Yeah, gotta be a time. I don't know if I want to take Kai along for that, though.
It's probably a good choice.
Yeah. So, we got, different stuff tonight. We got, manga. We've done manga before, though.
Oh, that's one of the biggest deviations from our previously broadcasted communications. We're shifting away from comic books.
We kind of did with Dresden, though.
Yeah, well, that was the test, the beta case,
Oh, yeah.
the beta episode.
Yeah. Yeah, so we actually got Neil Gaiman's Norse Mythology. So at least we're like comic book-ish, because there is the Norse Mythology comic book coming out, and it's actually kind of funny. One of the stories we read is the starting story, which is pretty interesting. And I didn't realize it until I like had pretty much finished it, and I was like, damn, this seems familiar. The Treasure of the Gods is the first story in it.
Oh, so you did get the comic?
I did get the comic. I like the book better. Just based on that, like they're gonna have to break it up. I don't know how long it's gonna be or how much of it they're gonna do. I don't know. It's one of those things. I don't know. We can kind of talk comics at the end, because like I said, I just had the revelation that Dune is now a graphic novel, and they got a comic out, and
Okay, so scratch that. We're still gonna talk comics,
I mean, we
but
might at some point.
we're gonna also focus on novels that we enjoy.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see what happens. I've been bugging you to read Norse mythology for quite some time, but
This is a perfect excuse to do that,
right,
especially after Dresden.
and you have been bugging me to read Chainsawman for quite some time.
Yeah.
So let's hold on. Where do you want to start?
We can do
I say
Chainsaw Man,
Chainsawman,
yeah.
because that was an eye-opening experience for me. It was not what I was expecting. Actually, it was exactly what I was expecting and exactly the way you described, but I think I took some different things away from it.
Okay. So Chainsaw Man basically follows Denji, who's an orphan who is a kind of amateur, what is it, demon hunter? And
Devil Hunter,
Devil
actually.
Hunter, yeah. And he's doing these little scores to pay off his father's debts to the Yakuza, who own his life right now. And he has a little dog named Puchita who's adorable looking and has a little chainsaw for a nose.
I have a question. What is this book rated? Like, this is like teen plus, so what's the age on that?
It was 13.
I'm just saying,
13,
motherfucker hung himself in
Oh.
front of the Yakuza. I don't know if you caught that. The Yakuza dude was like, yeah, your father couldn't pay his debt and then hung himself. Like, I'm like, wow, that's really graphic for 13 years old.
No, that was one of the things that I wanted to bring up, because we read Gantz before, and Gantz is a mature title, and this is currently released in Shonen Jump, which is like for people like 8, like maybe 12.
Okay.
That's like the current demographic, like middle schooler, high schooler. So this fits into the high schooler thing, but it's also extremely graphic.
Right. Let's delve a little deeper, and then we'll come back to that question. Let's lay down. Why don't you lay down a little bit more groundwork for him? So you were talking about Puchita.
Yeah. What do you know about Puchita?
What do I know?
Yeah.
Well,
Because I got
it is a devil who used to. Or wait, I'm sorry. He found Puchita, right? Which is kind of part of the flashback. At first, you see Denji using Puchita to kill other devils, because he saved Puchita's life by giving him his blood.
Yep.
Which is pretty interesting.
Because devils drink blood, and that's how they get their power. They're kind of like vampires.
See, that is interesting you say that, because Puchita is a chainsaw devil, but I thought, well, we'll discuss that further in. So they have a blood contract, and he says that Puchita needs to save him, right? So he uses Puchita to do these different jobs.
He uses them as a chainsaw to cut down trees.
Right. Different jobs he gets, devil hunting, whatever. So at some point, the Yakuza come and pick Genji up for a job, but it's like a
It's a ruse.
double cross. And they made a deal with a zombie devil, the Yakuza did, to attack Denji and fucking rips him to shreds. And then that's when you get the flashback of Denji telling Pochita that when he dies, he wants Pochita to take his body. And Pochita agrees as long as Denji shows him his dream. Which,
His dream is to touch boobs.
well, yeah, we'll get to that in a minute.
To live a normal life.
Yeah. So it was pretty interesting. He's like, it looks like he's laying in a dumpster at one point, but then he's like back in the room with the zombies.
Oh, yeah, because they cut him up and they put him in the dumpster. They were trying to kill him.
So the coolest thing is Denji wakes up, right? And there's this cord hanging out of him, which is like Pochita's chainsaw cord, and he rips the cord on his chest and becomes Chainsawman, which was super cool. And the art style, I feel like, changes a little bit at that point. Like, it gets super sketchy, which I really enjoyed and thought was cool. But that could also be like,
when he's just straight up massacring everybody.
right. And he rips them all to shreds. And then at the very end, there are some other devil hunters that show up while Denji is still in his form. And he asks her to hold him, and she does. And he transforms back into Denji instead of the chainsaw devil. So he isn't a devil, he's still human. So she cuts him a deal to become her pet, or she'd have to kill him. And basically offers him breakfast, and he's like, yeah, fuck yeah, I'll do it. So, he's got some pretty low standards. I would at least have to know what the breakfast is before I accept. Just saying.
He was eating bread for an entire week. Like, he would have a slice of bread.
No, he was pretty much like fucking starving. He ate a fucking cigarette at one point because somebody told him to.
For pretty much 10 cents.
Yeah. So, pretty interesting. A lot of characters come into it, but you don't really know who. The Yakuza are basically out of the picture now.
Yeah, that was just the
so he
beginning.
So he basically trades one debt for another, which is interesting. You know, a guy already hard on his luck, and then it just gets worse for him. You know.
But is it worse considering he gets to actually have a house, he gets food, he has a job?
True. But what's it gonna cost him? That's what we don't know.
Just has to kill devils. If he doesn't kill devils, he gets killed. That was pretty much the exact same stipulations prior. He just did it for the Yakuza.
Yeah, true.
And now he doesn't have his father's debt.
And he's also a part devil. Which later on you find out could mean he's part... It wasn't devil. What did they call it? Like a...
The possessed things.
Yeah, it wasn't
a fiend?
Yes, a fiend. There we go. Thank you. Sorry about that. Yeah. So yeah.
A fiend is a devil that's taken over a person's corpse.
Right. Which kind of happened, right?
But he's not a corpse. He's alive.
He was dead. He was ripped to shreds, and then Pochita took his body.
Yeah, but there's a distinction between the two.
Yeah, they make it. I just don't understand it. They say he's different. That's about all the distinction they gave.
Yeah. 'Cause he's like power. He's just he's possessed. His body is possessed. It's the contract thing. If you make a contract, you're in an agreement with the devil, as opposed to it overcoming your own will.
So then, should I keep going with the synopsis, or do you want to continue?
You're doing fine.
Okay. So, I don't know if we should have said spoiler alert, but okay, so they go to breakfast, And all of a sudden, there's this citizen who's like, "Oh my God, there's a devil! It took my daughter." And the agent, we don't know her name yet, doesn't want her udon to get soggy because that's what they're gonna have for breakfast. I'm guessing that's a noodle.
Yeah, it's
I'm
very
not.
good.
I'm not too familiar. I'm sorry,
Yeah.
guys. I'm not very worldly in my foods
Like,
unless it's
ramen?
tacos.
Ramen, it's
Yeah,
like really skinny. Udon is fat and thick.
sounds good. So he doesn't want to go because he wants to eat his food. He didn't get breakfast yet, and she basically threatens him that useless dogs get euthanized. So she views him as like a dog. So he goes to the woods and sees this cute devil creature, and the girl, the daughter, the guy's daughter, begs him not to kill it because it saved her from her dad beating her, which again, very adult type stuff. But it was the devil was tricking him.
Yeah, considering the other stuff that you've read in Shonen Jump, like Shaman King, One Piece,
Yeah,
Naruto,
yeah, like
Bleach.
this. I didn't know this was in Shonen Jump. I just
Uh,
was reading it. I'm like, this is very, very adult. And I know that like even anime, like the stuff that they put on TV that's targeted towards like younger kids is more. I mean, they're more accepting of different stuff. You know, the world or the United States compared to the world is very,
Censored.
yeah, yeah. Which is kind of funny that we get all mad about China censoring everything.
Yeah, slightly different. We're trying to preserve our innocence and our youth.
So yeah, that's true. And then we read this type of stuff to preserve our innocence and youth, which is ultra violent. It's all the stuff we wished we had.
That's kind
That's
of
like a lot of things I do in life. I'm like, I can buy whatever video game I want whenever I want. Oh, fuck yeah. Couldn't do this when I was a kid.
Oh, that's what always was more interesting about manga compared to like Western comics, was that it had that edge that was a big distinction. Like, because you read all the superhero comics and it's all nice and clean cut, and we're the good guys and we'll punch somebody and
Unless you
they'll
read
die.
Hellblazer.
No, unless you're reading Hellblazer, but I
Yeah,
wasn't
Vertigo.
exposed.
Yeah, neither
But
was I.
that's probably
Yeah,
why those were popular
right.
at that point in time.
But again, targeted towards a more mature
Yeah.
audience, not us, where this would be targeted right at us as kids. I don't know, it's interesting. Anyway, Denji cuts apart the devil and he goes back to the diner, and now we find out that the agent, whose name is Miss Makima, is very happy how he listens and feeds him his udon. And she explains to him that he has two parts now, one devil, one human, and while Pochina may not physically be here, he's still alive in Denji because Denji was a little sad that Pochina was gone. And then Denji clearly has a crush on this girl and asks what kind of boy she likes, and she responds, a boy like Denji. Now, it's at this point where I'm like, the dude that's writing this is into some seriously fucked up, like, not fucked up. I shouldn't shame anybody.
Kink
But
shaming?
yeah.
No kink shaming?
I mean, this dude, this book is very heavy on the I don't know, is it like a domination thing, or I don't know how you'd explain it because I'm not really into it, never really looked any of this stuff up, but like she treats him like an animal, calls him an animal, calls him a dog, and he like worships her.
Just like a dog.
Right. So,
But does he have any other mm, frame of reference to go on and how he's supposed to be relating to people? He just knows that he's supposed to like people, but he doesn't have the
this is
wherewithal of how relationships work.
right, which totally fits in with the story. I'm just saying this author, I think, has,
Some weird kinks.
yeah. No, maybe not even weird. I think that's a pretty common one, isn't it?
To be owned by somebody?
Yeah. I don't know if that falls into the BDSM or what it is, but it's like a dominance thing. Like a master-slave relationship.
Well, you had 50 Shades of Grey. That was.
Yeah, there you go. So it's popular. There you go. It's not even a weird kink. It's a popular kink. You didn't get that vibe?
Well, no.
Oh,
I didn't.
now I feel dumb.
Well, no, I was gonna say that you were obviously getting different things then.
Well, no, I'm just like this bitch is not very nice. And then you read on like, so Denji goes to the Devil Hunters Tokyo headquarters, and he meets this dude Aki, and they beat the shit out of each other, which is funny
because Denji always goes for the balls.
Yep.
Whenever he's fighting a guy,
Yep.
go-to move number one.
I mean, he knows how to take him out. And then, they explain, or he's got to work for her, right? It's a till death do us part relationship. So Denji and Aki have to live together, and he's part of Aki's Devil Hunter team, and he's pretty upset about that. But like he's like lock, stock, and barrel in. It's blood in, blood out, right?
Yeah. And it's an experimental group, which is very important.
Right. Because then we meet a new character.
Power.
Yeah. While Denji's living his dream, right? He's got good food, baths, a real bathroom. Some police come and recruit him and Aki to take on a fiend. Denji doesn't know what a fiend is, which we talked about already. And Aki wants him to transform so that he can see what he can do, but Denji's like, nah, that like hurts me, and it's really bloody and all this stuff. And then you find out that he's trying to save the porno mags in the room, which is pretty funny. I laughed at that pretty hard. So it's at this point that Denji's like, am I living my dream? Am I not? I want to touch boobs. That's my dream. And
his new dream, yeah.
Yeah, so preferably Miss Makima's. He's thinking about hers. But back at headquarters, Denji gets paired up with a fiend named Power.
All right, actually, quick aside. That was one of the reasons I found this. I found this entire manga and still do extremely funny, just because of how serious the subject matter is and how graphic it is at times. Like, the dude's got chainsaws that come out of his body, blood splaying everywhere.
Out of his head. His head is a chainsaw. I'm sorry, I kind of glossed over that fact.
Yeah. But his dreams are just so basic and minimal. It's just like
well, it's almost like a study of like what you need, I don't know, maybe to be happy, or
Maslow's hierarchy.
Right. There we go. Thank you. So like now he's attained food and shelter and these sorts of things, and now he's going to seek boobs, melons,
companionship,
big cojones, whatever you want. No, not cojones.
Oh, maybe we're not kink shaming.
Big honkers. and the next chapter is appropriately called "A Way to Touch Some Boobs." So like him and Power go out, and there's like this. They take out a devil, but like they fuck it up because somebody else was supposed to do it. And we find out that Power is super pissed off at humans because, or not humans, but like, well, maybe I guess. Well, she doesn't like humans, and
because they're inferior. Right. She's the greatest. She's got a huge ego.
Right, and big jugs because Denji's checking them out all the time too. So she
and she's always trying to get out of being guilty for anything she does wrong, and is willing to lie.
Yes, that was funny too because that was a big scene between the two of them. They get in a fight over whose fault it is, which was pretty funny. She like immediately throws Denji under the bus, like no questions asked, like fuck him. So we find out that Power was turned into a fiend when a devil stole her cat. So she would like to exact revenge on that devil.
She wasn't turned. She was already a demon. Or a devil.
Are you saying that based on what happens after that, or I thought it said that she was turned into a fiend when a devil stole her cat.
Oh, that might be this. Oh, I might have been doing spoilers for
The end of the chapter. Yeah, see, I'm
Yeah.
getting there. I know. All right, so they set off to find her cat, Meowie, which is possibly the most original name for a cat. Meowie.
Yeah.
Sounds like Maui, but Meowie. Maui, where I would like to be right now. Where it's nice and warm and not the depths of winter. We're not even in the depths and I'm bitching. That's right, I am. I had to
like
get my mittens out.
30. You got mittens? Are they knitted? Got some cool colors on them. I don't know. I've been wearing a winter hat for
You know what?
the last
Fuck
month.
you. Everyone makes fun of me because I call them mittens. They flip into mittens. They're flippies.
So they're glittens.
Well, I said mitt gloves. That's what I called them this morning. What did you call them? Glittens?
Yeah.
I don't know. When I think glove, I think of like a work glove. Like I'm gonna put some gloves on. I'm gonna go out and work. When I think of my hands are cold, I'm gonna put on some mittens.
No,
Whether
they're called
whether they have
gloves.
fingers or it looks like you're a fucking snowman, I don't care.
No, mittens is
They're mittens.
A mitten is that curved part that covers all your fingers, so it's just one giant.
Well,
like,
you're in my
flipper.
house right now, bitch. So they're all mittens. No, everyone's making fun of me. Like, oh, you gonna go get your mittens? I was like, actually, and then I flip them shut, and I'm like, oh, fuck you. You can't see my middle finger under here, under my mitten.
When you go play baseball, what do you call that thing that you hold?
A mitt. It's got fingers.
It's also called a glove.
It's called a mitt. Go grab your mitt. We're gonna play some ball.
Catcher's mitt.
Yeah. Pow.
Yeah, but you don't have individual dexterity with each finger. It's all one giant mass. You got a thumb and 4 fingers with webbing in between them.
Yeah, sounds like my gloves.
Yeah, it sounds like a mitt.
My glittens. Glittens. Anyway. I don't even remember how we got here. Oh, Meowie.
Yeah.
Right.
And you
So-
were complaining about temperature.
Yeah. Dude, it's fucking cold. Fuck this bullshit. And you know what? Side tangent. I first finally traveled pretty far south for the first time in my life. Not last year. The year before, in December. And I was like, oh, I'm going to the south. I'm going to Atlanta. Right? Atlanta. It should be warm down there. It's not! It's all a fucking ruse, man. They make it sound like, oh, it's so warm down here. No, you just don't get as much snow as we fucking do. It's cold everywhere in the United States at this time of year. It's bullshit.
You just gotta go south farther.
Yeah, well, when we got to Jamaica, that was nice. But I was so used to it being, like, it still gets cold at night. Down there, too.
Yeah.
It's bullshit. It's very deceiving. You Californian bitches. Oh, it's nice out your bed. It's still like 50, 60 degrees. That's fucking cold.
50, 60's cold?
Okay. I could deal with it. But I'm just saying, like,
That's very nice.
well, Atlanta's further south than California. When we were in Atlanta, like, I put my mittens and my winter coat on. Anyway, side tangent over. So Denji and Power set off to find Meowie, and during this time, Miss Makima meets with some board members of some sort. I'm assuming of the Devil Hunters headquarters in Tokyo, and they're concerned about some Americans' use of the devils. So here's where we start to see Japan's fear and hatred of America. Maybe rightfully so right now. I don't know. Is Trump going after Japan?
No, it's just the consolidation of weapons is an issue that has always had.
True.
And Japan would kind of have an issue with it because they had to sign the no nuclear deal. Oh, deal? I had a different word in my head. agreement,
Pact.
arrangement. Yeah. So like they're not allowed to have like a certain military
Yeah.
size.
Yeah.
So if they're trying to maintain that they have power, their own power, but they're concerned about America and the rest of the world. I didn't. I guess it makes sense that they said America, considering what transpires later.
So they talk about the dogs, which are Denji in power. Again, I don't know. That's weird to me. But anyway,
Wait, what's weird?
just their reference to the demons, devils as dogs. Dogs in training.
No, that's her kind of thing.
No, the board says it.
That they're their pets.
Yeah, the dogs. How are the dogs? Pretty sure they ask her
Uh,
that.
yeah, Makima are the dogs in the squad we gave you
Right.
coming along.
Right. So clearly
Well,
these
dogs of war.
devils. Yeah, I guess dogs of war, but that wasn't literal dogs. Maybe like DAWGS, like they were all dogs. I don't know. It's interesting. Clearly, and maybe that's the statement they're trying to make. There's like these devils, while useful, are still viewed as like animals. Like they're not.
Well, they're not humans. They're
Well, I
like
get
you
that.
said,
I
they're
get that, but
disposable.
like, well, yeah,
They're just a tool.
but isn't that kind of interesting? Like you think of like gods and devils and demons and all this shit, like they hold power, right? More power than what a human in most circumstances. And in this circumstance, they're being lowered to like the lower rungs. Not that they aren't fearing is one thing, but like devils and demons, I mean that's like a place of power, right? In most cases. I mean we look at Norse mythology, all these gods are worshipped. I mean there's devils and demons that are worshipped. They're powerful. And like it's interesting that they're taking these two and they're like putting them to like the shit ranks. They're the peasants. Treating them like dogs and not the DAWG kind.
Yeah, that's interesting. I actually hadn't thought about it.
I didn't think about it till right now. But
But yeah, that's kind of thus far it's connotating that humans have more power than devils do.
and then I kind of question, is that intentional by the Devil Hunters Association or whatever they call themselves? We don't really know. But is that intentional so that they don't realize their true power? Like if they're kept in check and treated like animals, it's kind of like the circus mentality, right? Like we train these animals and they won't turn on us, but then one day, bam, you lose an arm to a lion. Or Siegfried and Roy, didn't they both? One of them died, got mauled, dead.
Nom nom nom.
Tasty
Kitty
snacks.
litter. Oh, and then yeah, you got the whole Tiger King thing.
Why you got to bring that up?
Because tigers and domesticating animals that are wild beasts, and now they have a tendency to turn on you if you're not careful.
Did you watch Tiger King?
Fuck no.
Then don't bring it up. Why you got to bring Tiger King?
I just explained
You better hashtag that so we get some hits.
No.
Anyway.
For the 32 minutes and 26 seconds where German
Doesn't
bitches
matter.
about
Doesn't
Tiger
matter.
King.
You said Tiger King. We can put it down. Hashtag Tiger King. All right. So, I forgot where we were at. Anyway, so
People
power, huh?
talking. Oh, I was trying to help you, but you got it.
Yeah, power double cross, crosses Denji, and we find out that she actually took Denji to get fed to a bat devil. But the bat devil does not like the taste of Denji, and he'd rather feed off of humans. Which, that was interesting too, because I'm like, all right, so he's gonna go eat some humans. But then Power's like, no, I want my kitty back, my Meowie. And the bat devil eats Meowie as punishment for bringing bat devil rotten blood. And then there's a very sweet flashback of Power finding Meowie and forming a friendship. You're right. She wasn't a demon when she was a fiend when. Yeah, you were right. Sorry about that. I don't know why I read that differently. Anyway, and Meowie was the first thing that she didn't want to eat for a blood devil. So the the bat devil then eats power too, which I'm like, dude, you just complained that Denji tasted like ass. What do you think she's gonna taste like? She's not a human. And you know this. So then he gets even more mad, and he's like talking about the hierarchy of the things he's gonna eat, like a fat man and a pregnant woman and some kids and like all this shit, which was weird too. I did not like that list of things he was gonna eat.
You want it read quick?
Sure, you can do that.
All right.
Let's break it down.
So this is right after he ate power. He's all pissed off, spreads his wings, starts screaming, "Gah! My mouth tastes revolting. I must rinse out with the blood of children."
To which I say, oh no, sorry, go.
And then he crashes through the house's roof and starts flying towards the city. After I've gargled, I'll have a virgin as an appetizer for the soup.
No?
For the soup, a healthy woman of ripe age. The main course will be a good plump man.
What's a ripe age? Like 30? 35? Is he talking about a mature woman?
Yeah, I don't know.
I'm going to Google machine that. Hold on a second.
ripe age?
Keep going.
What is a ripe age? And for dessert, I desire a pregnant woman.
Why is that dessert?
'Cause it's got it's sweet and savory, maybe?
Holy shit. We were way wrong. Or I was way wrong.
It's probably like just gone through moonblood phase. Puberty.
Oh, no. Never mind. Keep going. Oh, that's it, huh?
Yeah. That's the end of the list. And then Denji latches onto the bat demon and just screams, "Give me back my boobs."
Right! That... Okay, so you're going back to that. Anyway, a ripe old age is somebody who is very old. You were right. Yes, Denji holds on to the bat devil because he wants his boobs back. He just wants some boobs. And the bat devil squeezes Denji... And then Denji pulls his ripcord and turns into Chainsawman. And...
It's the end of
cliffhanger.
the volume.
But that last little comic was pretty funny when he was like going to eat Aki's scab. That was gross. And I wanted to barf a little bit. So, back to the original question of all this. Is this too graphic for 13?
Nah.
I'm going to say yeah.
Nah.
Yep. Not for me.
13. I was watching some pretty fucked up shit at 13,
I don't know
anime
that I
wise.
was. Well, I mean, yeah, I got... did I know
Dude,
you
movies,
when I was 13?
dude, like
know.
Hollywood movies, they're pretty graphic.
Dude, your
Like
parents were
R-rated
letting you
movies.
watch R-rated movies when you were pretty young.
Nah, yeah. Yeah, so I've seen a bunch of shit, so it didn't really faze me. I don't know, I'm trying to think. I guess that was one of the questions. I don't know why it's in Shonen Jump. I'm glad it's in Shonen Jump. That means it gets a wider audience for a really great story.
Do you think Shonen Jump markets it that way, knowing that there's people outside of the U.S. reading it? Or, I'm sorry, outside of Japan reading it?
No, I think this is pretty much for...
Okay.
It's based towards Japanese people.
Okay. I don't know. I'm just saying. I mean, overall, I'm going to give this 2 thumbs up, though. It was a fun thing. Pochita's pretty cool looking in the beginning until...
Adorable.
Yeah. You know, you wouldn't really think of it as a devil. But we learned that they can be deceiving. Which maybe that was kind of the point of showing that. I don't know. It's really hard not to be on board with fucking chainsaws for heads, arms, and just shredding shit apart. It's
Yeah, that
one of
was.
those fun things.
I
I
actually
just don't
started.
know that I would let Kai read that at 13.
I picked it up just because of the title and the picture I saw.
I mean, fair enough.
Chainsaw Man, what?
Like-
That sounds awesome.
Like, the art really changes when he starts shredding shit, which is very cool.
Yeah.
It gives it a not that other manga doesn't do that, but I feel like I don't see that as often. And also just to see a cute little Pochita just fucking become something like horrific like that. Like that'd be a not great dream to have, you know. If I dreamed about Chainsaw Man, I'm pretty sure
You should probably write down your next fucked up dream
I
and
don't
then
know.
turn it into a
Dude,
manga.
I
then
had a really fucked up dream last night, and I don't know what it was, but it was super fucked up. Like I woke up, I was like, fuck, I gotta stop thinking about that. And I went back to sleep, and it happened again. And I woke up, and I'm like, what the fuck, brain? And then I went back to sleep again, and I woke up a third fucking time. Same fucking nightmare.
Huh.
Or like, I shouldn't say same nightmare. It just, the story kept going. And guess what I finished yesterday? Chainsaw Man.
All right, get ready for volume 2 whenever that
Well, I
comes
read
out.
Chainsaw Man and like a fucking fat stack of comics too, so
Oh, it all mixed together. One of them wasn't sitting well.
I don't know. It was weird too. Like it had something to do with Stephanie and Kai, and like it was a fucked up dream. But yeah, what other questions did I have? I got the kink thing that I wanted to talk about.
But it's not really that graphic. In my opinion. It's not like realistic blood.
I mean see, that's the thing too. Like there is a certain aspect to that. The fact that it is black and white changes things too.
Well, no, because by reading Gantz is
Oh,
gratuitous on an entirely different level compared to this. This
yeah.
is,
There's no nudity in this.
Yeah. Well, I wasn't even talking about nudity. Just like when they do violence, it's realistic. This is still very, fucking, I don't know the word.
Well, yeah,
Abstract. There we go.
and I
That might be
mean,
it.
if they talked about somebody hanging themselves in Gantz, they'd actually show it and do the whole thing. Versus this, where it was like mentioned and moved on from.
Yeah. Like you see internal body parts in Gantz. Here
True.
is just there's a chainsaw going through a person and blood.
How do we know it's not fruit punch? Right.
It could be fruit punch.
Right.
I mean, they are all drinking blood, which could be fruit punch. These guys could just be Kool-Aid men. The devil is a lie. He's actually the Kool-Aid.
No. I mean, I'm not like the hardcore manga guy that like you are, but like you toss shit my way, and it usually never disappoints. This one again did not disappoint, and if you're not into manga, and you want like, it's a quick read. I made it longer by taking a bunch of notes so that I could give you guys the synopsis of it, and I pretty much walked you through the whole thing. So I guess you don't have to read it, except for all the cool pictures that I can't show you in this medium that we are using. But
Auditory.
I thought it was awesome. Like I really enjoyed it. I was skeptical that I would be like, yeah, Chainsaw Man.
No, fuck that.
I'm just saying,
it's
dude.
great
Like it's
great from the get-go.
I guess I did buy that Bear Shark graphic novel, which I don't know what happened to. Do you still have that?
No, I should have given it back to you.
I gotta find it.
Because that was a while ago, and
I know.
I went through all the random stacks I had, and
Dude, I can't find it. I don't think it's in my stack. That's disappointing. You should check if you can.
Okay, I'll check again.
No, it's cool, but like I moved all my books recently. I don't remember seeing it because I rearranged them all. I had to get all the Hellblazers on one shelf.
I don't know where it would be though, because I've tore through everything that I had.
I wonder if Stephanie stole it. Anyway, so that's Chainsaw Man. Do you have anything more you want to talk about it?
I don't think so. I just wanted like your take on it, if it was good or not.
I thought
I can't really talk to you about like the other shit.
What other shit?
Chapter
Oh,
fucking whatever they're on now.
oh yeah.
So like
You
this
know a
is
lot more than I do. Yeah.
so this is one of the manga that I check the Shonen Jump thing every Sunday to read. Like nothing like there's some other good stuff in there, like My Hero Academia is in there, which is extremely popular.
Yeah.
You probably know what that is.
Yeah, I see.
And you've never read it
I see the sweatshirt everywhere.
yeah. Oh, there's a sweatshirt?
Yeah. With
All
the-
Might's hoodie? Oh. No, you'd like that one. Nah, you might not like it as much anymore. But it's an interesting take on superheroes. It's a parody kind of it. But
think-
it does there's always that gripe about continuity or whatever in it. Like this actually has a continuity, like because it's just one story as opposed to Western comics where it's always pretty much a television show where everything resets back to normal and nothing actually changes. Just the scenarios maybe vary, but the outcome is always the same. This one actually has like My Hero Academia actually has character arcs and people die? Maybe? Kind of people die. I don't think there's any like big impactful deaths that I can remember. It's all back like flashbacks, people died. Not main characters, which is always disappointing because that's important to have main characters die.
Yeah, it rips my heart out. Fuck, man. I don't know. I think I'm more of an anti-hero guy. I like those stories better.
Well, they have well, it's not anti-hero. They have like a vigilante one. They're like that was another thing. So like there's My Hero Academia. It was written by one dude, and then there's like spin-offs that take place in that universe, but they're not written by that guy.
Oh, so it's like American comics.
Yeah, but they're still progressing forward. They don't reset.
Yeah.
They have a continuous continuity. No, I don't.
Till
the
Disney
only things-
buys them and blows it all up.
The only things that kind of fit into that would be like,
Childhood.
I think Pokemon falls into that category.
Were you the one that sent me the article about people were all pissed off about Ash's Pikachu evolving?
Maybe
Yeah.
it evolved into a Raichu
Yeah. And
briefly, and then it went back.
I don't know. There was speculation that it was going to happen, and people were really upset because Ash is kind of almost like The Simpsons, where it's been going on for a really, really, really long time, but they never age. And if Pikachu evolves into a Raichu, then that would indicate that Ash would have had to aged some, and it didn't fit in their small confined box that they like to have.
Wait, what? Why does Pikachu have to age to turn into a Raichu? All you gotta do is give that little fuzzball a
It would-
Thunderstone. And
yeah,
then it just
I
evolves.
guess.
It doesn't have to
I guess,
level up.
but if it I guess the context of how it evolves is something that would have to be into consideration.
But Pikachu doesn't evolve unless it has a Thunderstone. It has nothing to do with levels. You can give a level 1 Pikachu a Thunderstone and it'll turn into a Raichu.
I don't know. Kai shit a brick when Pikachu fucking mega evolved in the new Netflix show. Like he's like comes running out of his room. Dad, Pikachu mega evolved. I never thought it would happen. And I was like, I mean, can't you make him do that in the game? No, you cannot. he's pretty excited about that stuff. It's cool. Like, I don't know. He might make an appearance at some point. I told him that if he reads Yokai Watch, he can come on the podcast and tell people about it.
Oh, fuck yeah.
Cause
We
he
gotta
really,
read.
yeah.
We gotta read Yokai Watch then.
Well, I mean, I'll be reading it with him, so
Oh.
I'll let you know how it is.
Okay.
Maybe that's on the
I
app. I don't know.
I know nothing about Yokai Watch. I don't know if that's even. I don't think that's shonen.
Oh no, I think you're right. I think that's Viz.
Yeah. So, anyways, it's Chainsaw Man and Kaiju number 8. Those are the only two that I'm following religiously, like manga wise, that you can get. And whenever Kaiju number 8 comes out, I'll be hooking you up with that.
I mean,
You read the first chapter of that?
yeah, first couple, maybe first 3. I don't know. Like,
Oh yeah, we never actually got to fully discuss that.
yeah, I am starting to fall out of love with comics a little bit, unless like I can just consume them all at once.
Yeah, that's why I don't get them all at the same time or every week.
Right, and that's why I like just buy them all, and then I wait until I have 4 or 5, and then I plow through them. But there's something about holding a single issue of a comic book. I don't know why I like that so much. Like I got that Batman omnibus, and it was super good. Like I would never want to read that week to week, because I just can't keep track of it all. And maybe I'm or we, because like, well, I don't know about you. I'll speak for myself. Like maybe I'm in the minority where like I'm reading and consuming so much stuff that by the time the next Justice League Dark comes out, I'm just like, all right, what's going on here? And like I just read it, and I'm like halfway through the book, and I'm like, okay, yeah, that happened. Oh fuck, forgot about that. Like, you were kind of like, what kind of notes do you have like for the pod tonight? Like I'm trying to remember everything, because I just like, I'm gonna consume it, and then I'm gonna go on to the next thing I want to consume, because I feel like, I don't know, I have this weird thing with time where like I only have so much time. Like I'm super focused on time, so much so that I like, it takes the enjoyment out of doing some things. Like I have to consciously think about like, do not worry about time. There's lots of time. You can get to everything in the day.
You know what the Buddha said?
What?
The biggest flaw in humans is you think you have time.
Oh, fuck you. I had anxiety already, and you just made it worse. No,
Well, it
but
depends on how
I'm
you-
not talking like a I'm gonna die thing. I'm talking about like, I have so many hours that I can stay awake in a day, and I need to get X, Y, and Z done, or I want to get X, Y, and Z done. Like I'm very good at allotting time for stuff, and I can balance and juggle and do different things, but I feel like the amount of things I want to do and the amount of time I have, I can't shoehorn it all in.
It's funny that you interpreted it as dying as opposed to like the construct itself, and that you think that there is a future and a past as opposed to whatever you're doing at that current moment.
That's the most important thing.
Yeah, the moment.
Yeah.
Right here, right now. Not
Right.
past, not future.
Right. I have troubles with that.
Yeah,
See,
that's fine.
I have so much anxiety
yeah,
about it.
yeah.
I didn't even pick up on that.
That it could be what he was talking about. I don't know. I'm not zen enough to fully understand.
Nor am I. I wish. I don't know. I don't know what Zen Jeremy would be like. Probably be a hell of a lot more chilled out. But yeah, like there's just so much shit. I said that to you the other day, and you're like, "Oh yeah, I've kind of fallen out of love with reading." Like I can't get enough of everything I want to consume.
It's not felt. I just can't get into the proper headspace to enjoy reading as much.
I mean,
I
I
don't
get
know.
it. I have those spurts where like I just have all that shit going on, and I'm just like, I can't even focus on the words on the page. Like I get that.
Like switching from. It happens sometimes, like switching from comics to novels. There's like it not usually going from comics to novels. It's usually going from novels to comics. Where a novel, you're just all up in your head and there's
Right.
so much going on, and then you get to a comic and it's like pretty pictures and terrible fucking writing when you go to like some big two stuff.
Yeah, well, and it's if you're reading like week to week, it's not as epic either, right? It takes longer to get the payoff.
Oh, sometimes it's epic.
Like when I'm reading a book at night and I'm like, well, the bedtime just went out the window because we are in some serious shit right now, versus getting to the end of the comic and being like, well, till next month.
Yeah.
You know, like there's something to be said, like especially like during some of those events, and you just get that cliffhanger, and it's like, I want to keep going. Like I'm in a mood right now. Like I'm having a moment, and you just ended it. Versus like sitting down with the whole graphic novel, and you can plow through it, and you can ride those emotions all the way through. Storytelling is a lot of that, right? It's trying to evoke an emotion or an idea or thoughts or lots of different things. And if it would be like getting like one stanza of a poem at a time, right? You can't really fully appreciate the whole poem until it's done. But on the other hand, TV and like old radio narrated things, they would do like episodes and stuff, and you'd have to wait a week. You know, we didn't have this binge culture 10 years ago, and we waited for the next episode to come out. Walking Dead is like a really good example. People like fucking loved that shit.
Game of Thrones.
Game of Thrones, yeah. You know, and there's still
The
things.
Boys.
Yeah, there's still things that, release on a weekly thing, and I think that's a thing. But when you get out to like a month, like could you imagine waiting a month for another episode of The Boys?
I waited a year, and I was okay with that.
For a season. But
Yeah, but then
that's
you got
different.
four. Then you got
There's
4 episodes.
there's cliffhangers, but at least you had a complete story.
I will be waiting a year for the next part of Titty Kubo's new manga, Burn the Witch. That was like a trade, maybe.
Okay, but like again, it was like a complete thought, right? It wasn't just like I don't know.
But it's the same with books, where
Right, Justin's a good example. But
Yeah,
like you
5
got
years.
a good satiating amount.
so comics just aren't. Yeah, because I had brought that up. Like they don't feel like a full meal.
Yeah. No, and I don't know what I said when you brought that up that at the time, but like I really do start I agree with you. Like I if I wasn't on that side of the fence at the time, I'm definitely on that side of the fence now. I don't know the context of when we talked about
the
that.
question is like what's the criteria of feeling fulfilled after reading a single issue?
Right. And I don't think I could come up with anything. Other than wanting more. I don't know, man. I'm really starting to kind of turn on the idea of comics in that form. Like, if you're reading the comic Norse Mythology, I feel bad for you because, like, where they ended was just kind of like, okay, that's a choice. Like, are you gonna be able to shoehorn the last half of it in there? I don't know. And that's probably a monthly book. It's Dark Horse. I don't think they do anything bi-weekly. Most companies now, other than a couple DC books, are monthly. A lot of comic talk for not a comic. But like seriously, man, like I got more novels on my list of things to read than I do comics, but I'm still following it. Like there's some things I want to like finish up, but I don't know what I'm gonna do after that. The indie stuff's fun. Like, okay, so a good example of a comic that I've been able to like just pick up and keep going is Money Shot, and that's more fun than it is like a serious story. You said you liked it, the few issues that you read. That's one of those where like that it gives you enough that you feel I feel sated, right? Like, but I don't know what that criteria is. What is it for manga for you? Because
That's
you follow
just
that weekly.
yeah. That's what I was just checking.
Well, it comes out weekly. That
Yeah.
helps.
Uh, well, like the recent issue of Kaiju #8 was interesting because you actually found out who is causing all of the issues, like who released the kaiju. So that had been a plot point that was building. So it's got to have, uh, it has to fulfill the curiosity that had been building in the past issues. It also has to keep ratcheting up that tension. So you find out that this guy is actually another humanoid kaiju, just like Kafka. So that adds a whole bunch of different questions, like how, like from the first issue where Kafka ate that one kaiju, and the kaiju said, "I was looking for you." So that means that there's another kaiju that inhabited this human, or this kaiju is its own thing, like it's not a human. So it's those questions. Then you got the characters being put into a crazy situation and not sure if they're gonna overcome it.
Do you think that's a fatal flaw in comics because we know they'll always bring the people back?
Yeah, there isn't tension.
They can't ever. Well, I mean, death metal's pretty tense.
But it's not the same kind of tension because you know they're like just gonna go back into the toy box.
Right. So I honestly think that could be a fatal flaw of comics, which they're never gonna overcome because they do that, they kill the cash cow, right?
Another thing in this is that I don't know. You just have to actually like the characters on a deeper level. Like you have to view them as like when you read a not like a book, you get to know these people for a while. I don't know if that's like superheroes don't feel like humans, like people. Like they're like put on this weird little mantle. Like I don't get
But isn't
how
that the like appeal of Batman that he's just a regular guy? Like that's
but
all
he's
I ever hear.
but he's not really. I don't know.
That was my argument for years, and people were like, "No, you're wrong. You argued that shit, man."
Fuck. He fits the trope of being the everyman.
Right.
That's the issue with
Do.
how the power creep that happens
Yeah.
in death metal. He no longer is just that
Right.
hypothetical human.
Right. He rises above.
No, he just punches God in the face.
Or that. I honestly think it's a timing thing. I don't think you can wait a whole month and expect people to follow it. I mean, they follow it, but maybe I'm just not good at that. Maybe it's not good enough to leave the strong impact on me. Maybe it's not for me
But
anymore.
you read Constantine and you remember that.
Not always.
Oh.
I also, that's another one too that I've been like stacking 3 issues and then reading.
There is a difference.
But You are right. There is a bigger impact because then I stack 3 and then I read them all and I still remember what happened in the previous 6 or whatever.
It might just be the length of them.
Constantine's no longer than
No,
any.
I'm saying like there are uh, mangas that are monthly, but those are 48 pages
Yeah,
as opposed to the 18 pages that come out every week.
yeah,
So you're getting more chunk of the story.
yeah.
What also helps is if you have somebody to talk to. Like with television, it makes more sense. Like why those weekly things worked better. Because you watch it whatever day of the week is, and then you go and talk to people the next day about it. And sometimes it's just surface level conversations. Sometimes it's deeper. Yeah, that's what I always felt that like we like don't understand, or at least I don't understand like the comic shop, because I think you're supposed to go there and like hang around with people on Tuesday or Wednesday whenever they release comics, and then you like discuss what you think is gonna happen. And then if you've got like multiple titles going on, and like DC and Marvel, they intertwine, and you can try to figure out what's going on. It's like the comics conspiracy guys. They're like, I don't know how you can stay so energized about the same shit over and over that they've been reading for like 20, 30 years.
Yeah, I don't know.
Like, uh, I fucking got burnt out after 2 years.
Yeah. There's still stuff I like and want to read, but like not like they do.
Yeah,
I think it also helps that they have access to it all and not really have to pay any money for it.
but they do.
Yeah, they pay money.
It sounds like they pay obscene amounts
I don't
of
know,
money
man.
just to stay caught up. But yeah, if you own the comic shop, you can just read shit.
Well, yeah, and some of those guys work in the comic shop. Like, I don't know, man. Higgins can read everything, right? So he can read every fucking event book, like, and it doesn't cost him anything. And if it sucks, he doesn't actually have to buy it and add it to his collection. Like, I don't know. It's just I'm not a go talk about it at with a bunch of random people thing.
But they're
But
not
I guess
random
they're not
people.
random if you show up every week. I don't know, man. I'm just not gonna do it. That's not my jam.
There's no shop around here.
No, but like I go to the shop in Sheboygan to get like game stuff, and these people want to talk to me, and I'm like, nope, don't want to talk to you. Please leave me alone. Like, back to my why does everybody got to talk to me thing.
But you could show them your pictures of your paintings and be like, "Holy crap, that's awesome!" And then be like, "Hey, you should come here, so and so day. Bring your models. We'll play a full game of 40K."
Mm-mm.
That's what you want. You want to play a full game of 40K.
Yeah, in my house in my basement.
Then invite
by
them
myself
motherfuckers
if I
over.
have to. Nope.
Make sure they
Nope.
just vet them.
Nope. I can't do it, dude.
Dude, you had Bill over here. He's probably way worse than.
Yeah, but I know Bill.
So you just got to know these people too.
I can't do it, dude. I don't know. All right, I do need to take. I gotta go to the bathroom, so I gotta
Okay.
take a break here.
Non-beer break.
Yeah, but we'll be back. Oh wow, I timed that quite well. All right, so now we get to do what I wanted to do. This is like, well, it used to be my favorite subject. Now it's like one of my 3 favorite subjects.
What are your other subjects?
UFOs and Bigfoot at this point. I haven't read Mothman yet, so we'll see. I decided on Dune. I'm gonna do it. I think I can smash it in a couple weeks.
Yeah,
Maybe.
maybe.
I don't know. It depends if I read all the background stuff too.
The 100 pages in the back there, the codex or whatever.
Yeah, the codex.
Yeah.
I mean, I feel like I need the whole thing. I
I
don't know.
was-
Someone else, a friend on Facebook was reading it, and they were like quoting stuff off of it, and I was like, I don't remember that. I need to read this book, and then the movie, and then you were talking about it, and you're like, there's other books, and I was like, oh my god. But then I'm like, maybe I shouldn't read it because I don't need any more books to add to my list.
That's a book that is definitely worth a read or a reread.
Dune, the
Yeah.
first one, yeah. I don't know about all the other ones, but and with the comic thing, and you're like, oh, just read the graphic one. I'm like, eh. That's
Well, no, that was just to get the background patted
yeah.
out again, if that's just what you were interested in, not if you wanted the
No,
actual Frank
I
Herbert's writing style.
yeah. I that's one thing, like I like comics, but like I like the headspace I can get in with books and let my imagination run wild. Like I like to imagine what the characters look like, sound like, all this different shit, and then usually when I watch the TV adaptations I get pissed off. Comic books, it's harder to do that because you have everything drawn out for you. There's no imagination there.
No, there's imagination. You fill in the blanks in between the panels.
Okay.
You don't do that?
Not like I would in a book. Like Batman looks how he in my head how he looks on the page because I'm influenced by what's on the page.
Yeah, it's a better way to tell a story. Because
I
that
guess.
gets rid of all the incongruencies that occur when one person is trying to depict their version of a reality versus somebody else's subjective, objective point of view on the same words. Because that's the kind of the flim-flammy thing about writing something, because the author has this idea in their head and they put it on the paper, and that's the true version of what they see. But then that's the issue that arises with TVs, like their television and movies, is what those people envision in their head is different than what's on the screen, and that's where people get angry. Where a comic is, this is how they look. They don't look any different. There can't be that disparity between the two viewpoints. It's that whole thing, like,
No, I get it.
yeah.
I
Comics
just
are better.
I'm just like, what if I just want to live in my head?
You still get to live in your head with comics, because you have to pick their voices and all the sound effects and everything else that fulfills the world or fills in.
Okay, I'll just agree with you. I don't know. Alright. So we're going to talk about Norse Mythology by Neil Gaiman.
That means strong disagreement.
No, I don't have an argument other than I don't like it. I can't argue with you about your points. You're right, but I don't like it, and I'm going to act like a little kid and just move on. Change the subject. Kai's good at that. Kai, it's time for bed. Hey, Dad, look at this. Look at what I can do. Nah, it's bedtime. You cannot just change the fucking subject because you don't want to deal with it. Because I'm like 3 going on 33, though, I'm going to change the subject. Alright, so Norse mythology. I picked this up when it first came out, probably a few years ago now. Like the week it came out. Couldn't even find it at the Barnes & Noble because I didn't know there was a new book wall. That's how many Barnes & Nobles I had been in.
You don't know about new book walls?
Did not. I had to have some guy show me where the book was. I was all worried they didn't have it because it wasn't on the shelf in the back with all the other Neil Gaiman books. It was embarrassing.
This is 2017, 2018.
Yeah.
And you hadn't been in a Barnes & Noble since then?
I
Or
mean,
before then?
I had.
Have you never been in a
but
bookshop before?
I never.
Have you never been in a library?
Yes. Dude, fucking chill, man.
It's like right there in front of you when you
Walden
walk in.
Walden Books put the new books with the other books like it. They didn't have a separate book wall. And then was it Book World for a while? Whatever was in the mall. That's my bookstore. That's the one I always went to.
I guess.
It was Walden. And And then I don't. Oh, take that back. I also went to Books Etc. in Plymouth for many, 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 many years too. And they did not have a new book wall either. They just put the new books in with the other books like it. So in this example, all the Neil Gaimans would be together.
Yeah, but Barnes and Noble, like when you walk in, there's a sign that
Some
says
people don't
new.
read the signs, jackass.
Some people who love reading don't read.
The sign. Fuck the signs. I know what I'm looking for. I thought I knew where it was.
Hey, how do you get to what kind of book is this? It's a fiction book? How do you know where the fiction section is?
It's in the
You
one.
you just smell it out?
No, I
look at
followed
the-
you. I asked you, hey, where are the good books that I would be interested in? And you're like, they're over there. I follow you. I literally followed you. The first time we went into Barnes & Noble, I'm like, this is fucking overwhelming. This is a lot of shit in a big area.
It's a lot of words.
1, where's the bathroom? 2, where are you going to be? Because there will be books in that area that I probably like. And then from there, I may have explored a little bit. But again, when I walked in to get this book, I was like, it's by the other Neil Gaiman books. I know where that is. I'm just going to go back there and grab a copy. But some places decide to put it on a new book wall where I just don't read that sign because there's nothing up here that I want.
Except the book you're looking for. Yeah.
I'll agree to disagree. So, back to the actual topic at hand. I'm sure nobody has trouble navigating bookstores like me. Anyway, Norse mythology, which is fucking awesome because this is everything I wanted out of life. I love mythology. I like Greek mythology. I love folk tales. I like all that sort of shit. And this is all the Norse stuff, which is fun.
It's in the title, yeah.
Yeah, it's fun. So, we were only going to do the first 3 chapters of this book until, because I hadn't read it in a couple years, I totally forgot that the first 4 or 5 chapters are 4? 4
3.
chapters.
3.
No, it's 4. You going to argue with me about this?
Yep,
No. It's the first 4. Anyway.
Okay, you win.
Is pretty much background for everything that's to come after the first 4 chapters. So, chapter 1 is the players, and you meet the big 3, Odin, Thor, and Loki. And if you don't know who they are, well, you can read the book and figure it out. If you do know who they are because of the Marvel movies or the Marvel comic books, forget about what you knew and read this book. Because it's way better and way cooler. And I don't even read Thor, and I can tell you that. But basically, you got Odin, or the All-Father, and if you don't know why, well, figure it out. You got Thor, and he's very strong, in case you didn't know that. Probably comparable to a Hercules. And then you got Loki, the trickster, right? You got anything about these guys? They're pretty cool.
Oh, yeah.
We talked about previously how, you got your big screen comic depictions of these characters, which sucks balls.
I actually do have some questions in here.
Okay.
So Thor's got he's got his hammer.
Yep.
And then he's got the belt.
Yeah.
The Megan Jord.
Yeah. I think it's Yord.
Megan Jord.
Yord.
Yeah. So I'm gonna be fucking up, butchering every one of these pronunciations unless it's been shown to me in a Marvel movie.
Me too. Well, not the Marvel movie, just what I Googled.
Yeah.
But I'm pretty sure the J's are a yeah sound, like Mjolnir.
All right. So, they say he is by far the strongest of all gods.
Right.
But then they give him a belt that doubles his strength? Why does he need to be double powerful if he's already the strongest?
I'm pretty sure that's a story that's covered in this book.
Oh, okay. So then there's the answer to that.
I'm pretty sure it's covered. Kind of like, they give the, well, I'll give a spoiler alert for our podcast here. So if you don't want to know what's going to happen in 15 minutes, skip this part. But we find out how he gets Mjolnir, or however you say it.
Mjolnir. That's how I
Yeah,
say.
Mjolnir. Okay, that's fine. I'm cool with that. A very famous hammer forged by the dwarves. Spoiler alert.
Oh, so when you die, where do you want to go? Like, have you thought about that? Like the afterlife, if there is an afterlife, and you get to pick your afterlife, do you know where you want to go?
I mean, Valhalla sounds really good to me.
Yeah, it's the best place to be. That's what
Eat,
I always use.
eat, drink, and fight.
Every day
Yep,
for eternity.
yep.
That sounds great.
It's kind of like the Irish, the fight song, the drink and drink and drink and drink and drink and drink and fight, plus eating. The only thing I am slightly concerned about Valhalla, do they have tacos?
No, probably not.
Other than that, I'm good. But I'd like tacos.
Well, there's
But
a
if I
possibility.
knew about tacos and I died and I went to Valhalla, think of all the friends I would have in Valhalla.
Well, hold on. There's a possibility though that there would be tacos there because if Odin is the All Father and as they
Everybody
say,
worships him.
yeah, everyone worships him, but they call him by a different name. Then there's a possibility that any culture or all cultures are represented in Valhalla. There's just been a perversion in the afterlife locations according to each different mythology.
Yeah. So one other thing, since we're talking about Thor and you're talking about his belt, I just want to make one little note here that I laughed my ass off about.
It might
So
be the same one I'm thinking of.
so Thor is Odin's son, and Thor has two blood sons and one stepson. You have Modi or Modi, whatever, the angry, and Magni the strong, the two blood sons. And then you have Ulr, the god who hunts with bow and arrows and has fucking skis.
Yeah.
Like they that's a note in there. You have to know he has fucking skis.
Yeah. No, dude. I was reading this very quickly the first time, trying to figure out like what we would be covering, and
Obviously the skis.
I burned through that. I hit that, and was like, and he's the god with skis. Okay, so kept going. I was like, there was a defender of Asgard of Midgard. There are many stories about the.
Wait.
Did that just say skis?
I did the same thing. I was reading it very, very intently, and I was like, oh, he has a stepson. I'm like, that's pretty cool. Like, you don't hear a lot about that.
Stepfather.
Yeah, or he's a stepfather, right? You don't hear a lot about that in these myth stories and stuff like that. I'm reading, and he's got skis, and I was like, wait, what?
Yeah.
Like, the god who hunts with bow and arrows, but he has skis too. Like, that was awesome. Yeah, so that chapter just kind of introduces us to the big three that are gonna be in the focus of a lot of these stories, which is pretty cool. The second chapter, entitled Before the Beginning and After, sets up the framework of the world. Okay,
It's
so
the Genesis story.
yeah. And we talked about this too. We talked about how there are a lot of, across all mythology and theology and whatever you want to say. There's a lot of things that borrow, are similar. I don't know.
Intertwined.
Yeah, and I just want to kind of make a note because I thought it was interesting. We talked about it. The Norse mythology does not predate Christianity, but was translated by Christian writers when they came in and started converting. Because up until that point, it was all runes and pictures and different things like that.
But how does it not predate it? It was just first
They're saying the reason, the logic, reasoning, whatever I saw was that Christianity was already happening at that point, and this was just a different thing happening. I guess it could go back further.
Well, yeah, because if it's written in if it's if it's pictorial and in runes, that means it's documented before Christianity made its way there. So that would indicate that it was around before.
I don't know. I was like trying to Google it quick, but I'm not gonna find a good answer. I don't know. I don't know. You're right, because the narratives and the poems that came from it was after the contact with Christianity. Oh, there was 3 phases. I don't know. It's an interesting thing. Anyway, fuck it. Scratch
Oh,
that.
but like going back with the intermingling stuff, you got Odin is pretty much like as we were just describing is like the Christ figure, that discrepancy between whether or not. But you got like Thor could be Zeus
Right.
potentially,
Or Hercules.
or Hercules. But he
Because
fits.
I think.
He's the god of thunder though. Thunder though, that seems more like Zeus. And
Yeah.
and the description for Loki is Loki walks in the sky with shoes that fly, which sort of fits Hermes.
Yeah.
But I think
And
that's
isn't there another god that can transform into to look like any person or animal form? I don't know
yeah,
off the top of
Zeus
my head.
does.
There you
Zeus
go.
is a big mixer of things. I had a list somewhere of like when all these gods were, or these the 16 Christs or crucified saviors were all written or documented as having died, but I can't find it. It's kind of tilting.
Do you want me to continue on the synopsis till you can find it?
No, we can skip it. Just that there are 16 others. I can, which I thought was kind of interesting. Like they have a whole lot of similar parallels. Like their their birth was being foretold via the stars. They were visited by wise men. They were born to a virgin. They had disciples. They lived X amount of years and then were killed. And then they went to hell and they came back and they transcended death. And it was kind of there's a quote that I was reading about a description of like the whole Christ thing. Uh, it has one of the strongest evidences of all religions having this common origin is the myth and truth, which is the subject of the crucified Savior. This is a universal, far more than Christianity will admit. The cross itself is the most ancient symbol existing. Its form, it may be, grew out of a man standing with extended arms. On the cosmic plane, it is a symbol. It is a symbol of the descendant spirit into matter on the human. The man's higher ego fallen and incarnated on a fleshly body.
That's cool.
Yeah. But I was wondering why it's so important that all these mythologies have the god head as dying and coming back. And why it's such a universal thing. Like why do we need to look up to something that, or why is it so important for humans to have this figure that is better than themselves?
Right. Do you think it's a that is the dying and coming and transcending makes them slightly human so that a person could relate. Like they're gods, but they're also befallen to mortal things too.
Yeah, but no, like, yeah, that makes sense. But I was wondering, like,
I mean,
we
it's
don't,
not the answer,
yeah,
but
but we don't. Secular humanism doesn't adhere to those same principles. But it was very important to many cultures. But why do we no longer need that story, that truth?
I have no speculation on that.
Because
Do you?
now we think we're smarter than that, right?
In the
Like up
fact
at the
that I reject it,
every
or
many people, like, there are people that still adhere to the tenets of there being a crucified savior, whether or not. Well, though it like goes into that concept of why you don't like theology, but you like mythology. Like, you don't like the current understanding of religion as it's being played out in the world, but you enjoy the stories in the past, even though they're very similar, overlapping threads and components to it.
so my rejection, and honestly, I think the only reason it is called theology is because of Christianity forcing itself upon the world. And that is why it is entitled as such. Like, why couldn't this be theology? At one time, these people worshipped this. Like, I know I made the joke, like, we should start a Norse church, but, like, why couldn't you? I mean, it has a lot of the same tenets. It has a lot of the same lessons. You could argue Greek mythology is the same way. But it's considered mythology because Christianity says it's wrong. You're worshiping false idols based on Christianity.
Yeah, but
It's also interesting too, like you have societies, and I mean still today there are religions that worship more than one god, right? But Christianity has this whole story about how that you can't do that you're a sinner for doing so. Like, why is that? Other than the fact that they wanted everybody to be the same. And was that just something like the Crusades was a lot about religion, right?
yeah,
Converting. Like,
yeah.
was that like a power move? And then because it gained the power that it gained, it stayed. And then rather than people rejecting Christianity, they had different sects of Christianity branch off of it. Like, there's Catholicism, there's Lutheranism, there's lots of different things. You got your weird ass Mormons. No offense, but it's weird. Why is Scientology not considered mythology? Other than this shit's old, and I don't know of any practicing Norse religion people, but there could still be some out there. Like,
But you could.
it's super fucking interesting. So like it's no different than fuck. Well, there's all these different stories about like during the harvest, you got to leave out, you know, some food for the wood sprites or the elves so they don't fuck with your crops and spoil all your shit. You got to like I mean, the milk and cookies thing for Santa was like that came from like a fear that if you didn't do that, something was bad was going to happen to you. And that transcends into Bigfoot stuff where they're like, "Oh, we're gonna leave out snacks and stuff." I was gonna shoehorn it in there, whether you were gonna let me or not. You guys won't think big Swamp Thing's bad. I'm shoehorning Bigfoot in now, bitches. But like, there, there's different things. There's different stories to explain that the way things are, and I don't understand. And maybe I just haven't done the research. And if you want to fucking, tweet Toucan Rant at Toucan Rant, or email us at whatever our email is, you can tell me how dumb I am. But like, I don't understand the line between what actually constitutes a religion or what constitutes mythology. Why is it mythology?
Because nobody's currently worshiping these gods in the same capacity.
So then they have no power. I don't know.
It might be. It might have something to do with the Christianity overtaking other religions and integrating their stories into the one
I mean,
current dominion, and all those being lesser false things.
here you go.
But that doesn't necessarily work, because people who study mythology don't adhere to any deity. Some of them.
I mean, at least on the Google machine, mythology is a collection of myths, especially one belonging to a particular religious or cultural tradition. And their example is a book discussing Jewish and Christian mythologies.
Okay, so they're mythology.
So I guess that's mythology too. Problem solved. Start my Church of the Squirrel.
Ratatusk.
Yeah. So, or I don't want to cut you off. Is there anything else?
No, I'm good.
Okay. So, before the beginning and after sets up the worlds. Niflheim and Muspel and the Ginnung gap in between, and they come together. And then we start to form some giants. And from the giants, we have children, Odin, Vili, and V. The Odin. They kill their father. And the cool thing is the soil was made from his flesh, their father's flesh, Ymir's, the father. Sand, gravel, and rocks from his teeth, the seas from the blood and sweat. The cool part is the sky is the inside of Ymir's skull, the celestial nighttime objects, the sparks of Muspel, and the clouds of Ymir's brain. I would also like to mention Mr. Badass Surtur, I believe is his name. Standing at the edge where the mist burns the light, holding the flaming sword, and when he leaves his post during Ragnarok, and he will burn the worlds and the gods falling before him. He is the...
It's weird that they didn't name his sword.
That's a good point. I mean, flaming sword's pretty good, though.
It's not a proper name, though.
Yeah, it's not like Mjolnir.
If it's a sword that's gonna burn the world and slay God, do you think it would have a proper name, as opposed to the flaming sword?
So
it's gotta have a name.
So then Odin, Vili, and V create life, Ask and Embla, and they are the parents of all humanity. We all derive from them, and that is why Odin is the All-Father. Don't really know why Vili and V aren't, because it doesn't really explain that, but...
Because they didn't sacrifice themselves like Odin did with his eye.
Yeah, but that's later. Vili and V just kind of fall off after this. We don't really hear about them.
And that's because they didn't sacrifice themselves to themselves.
Okay, well, I guess there is the context of time. I don't really know where that all happens. But anyway, chapter 3 is Yggdrasil and the Nine Worlds. Now we're getting into the 9 worlds of the Norse mythology. Um, it's a mighty ash tree, and there's 9 worlds joining at that tree. The roots are in 3 worlds. The first root goes to Niflheim, and there's a dragon that resides there in the spring. Nidhogg, he seems like a pretty cool guy. Don't really know much about him. At this point, second route goes to Mimir, realm of the frost giants. And the third route goes to a spring in Asgard, the Well of Erd. That is where we have the 3 sisters. And if you've read American Gods, this will sound familiar. The Norns, they tend the well. Erd owns the well and is fate and destiny and past. Verdandi is becoming, which means becoming, is the present, and Skuld, which means that which is intended is the future, and they shape your fate at the well. Don't really have a lot of choice. Sometimes they fuck with you, sometimes they don't. There's really no rhyme or reason that we know of or is explained at this point. There's an eagle at the top of the tree with a hawk on its head. Doesn't really explain why the hawk is on his head. And there is a squirrel, which is where we said we're starting the church of the squirrel, the Ratatosk. He lives in the tree and he takes messages from Nidhogg to the eagle. Nidhogg, again, the dragon down below. And he likes to lie and provoke anger. This is the tree that Odin hung himself from. It's also known as the gallows tree. And the gods travel, to the different worlds, but they never climb the tree. They use the Rainbow Bridge, Bifrost, which is pretty cool.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if that has anything to do with leprechauns and pots of gold, but super cool. We'll go through the 9 worlds real quick. You got Asgard, home of the Aesir and Odin. And it doesn't say this, but there is a war between the Aesir and the Vanir, and I had to figure out what the fuck that was. The Aesir are like the upper gods, the OGs, and the Vanir are like these. They're still gods, but they're like different gods. I don't know. Alfheim, which is the home of the elves. Nidvalir / Svartalheim, which is Svartalheim mentioned in Dresden? Or the Svartalf?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so which is the home of the dwarves, the dark elves, or otherwise known as dark elves. That makes total sense now. Holy shit. All right, cool.
Yeah, that guy's even in here. Entry?
Yeah. Holy fuck. Wow.
Yeah.
Just put that all together right now. I'm like, these names sound so fucking familiar.
There's the one weird thing, though, I don't understand is why they're called dwarves. But they're also called elves at the same time.
Dark elves?
Right, but that's different than a dwarf.
Maybe that form of dwarf wasn't around during the Norse times. I don't know. You got Midgard, which is the home of women and men. You got Jotunheim, which is the home of the frost giants. Vanaheim, where the Vanir gods live. Niflheim, the dark mist world, and Muspel, the world of flame where Surtur waits. And finally, Hell. Just Hel, though. Not the double hockey sticks. Where the dead who did not die bravely reside. Okay.
Hell is where the non-brave go to when
Right.
they die.
Right.
Yeah.
And then chapter 4 is Mimir's head and Odin's eye. Mimir's well is in Jotunheim, and Odin travels there seeking wisdom. He makes a deal to drink from the well. Drink from the Gjallarhorn. This is where Odin cuts his eye out. We all know that pretty well. He leaves his eye in the well. After he gets all this wisdom and stuff, there's a war between the Aesir and Vanir, and this is why I had to look it up. The Vanir, somehow somebody got sent over to help the Vanir, but they got tired of Honir not being able to make decisions without Mimir, so they cut off Mimir's head and they send it to Odin, like some real OG fucking mafia type shit, like the horse head in the bed, for all you,
Godfather fans.
Yep. And as a result, Odin does some rituals and magic and rubs some shit together, and like keeps Mimir's head alive, or okay, I guess, and he places it back in the well next to his eye. But then they take the Yallarhorn to Heimdall, which at this point we don't really know him other than he is the watchman of the gods. And that is the horn that will blow only once at the time of Ragnarok, and all the gods will be awoken no matter where they are. It's kind of like Power Rangers. Do you think they join up and become a Zord?
Is that what it is? Zord? I thought it was something called something else. I was gonna go Megatron, but that's Transformers.
Optimus Prime?
Yeah.
So, that was a longer synopsis than I anticipated because we talked about a lot of different stuff. But that brings us to our first myth.
Treasure of the Gods. In which Loki tricks some elves to create the master weapons that will destroy him. It's pretty much the gist I got from it.
Yeah, I mean, way to fucking,
Bury the lead.
You're burying the end of the book, motherfucker. Yeah, so Thor's...
They bring it up in the story.
Yeah.
Multiple times.
Yeah.
Oh, you can do play-by-play if you want.
I don't need to do play-by-play. I mean, I'd like to do play-by-play. It's a cool story.
Oh?
I don't really know what the lesson is. Other than keep your mouth shut. Speak carefully.
Yeah. Well, no, that was the thing. You were saying, like, all these stories have morals in them that you can derive from them.
I think so.
But you just said that there is no.
No, I think there's some
moral.
And there are some. So, I mean, do we just want to talk about morals? You don't want to tell the people about the story? It's a cool story.
Carry on, wayward son.
I thought this is where we get deep.
Yeah.
I put my boots on. Put the shit kickers on.
But those aren't steel-toed.
No, I gotta get those out. Anyway, Thor's wife wakes up and her hair's gone. And her hair is pretty important to Thor. He loves all of her, but her hair is important to him. Little vain.
I wonder if that's where they got the idea. This is, sorry, comic book thing, but the Mighty Thor, Jane Foster, she has cancer.
Oh.
I don't know if there's like a correlation between those or not.
Oh. I was just thinking about, nah, it's Samson. That doesn't really matter. And his hair. Samson.
Anyways, Sif's golden locks were stolen.
They're not golden, but yet. I mean, yeah. Okay, golden locks, but not real gold.
Field of barley-colored hair at the end of summer.
Yeah.
I guess it's not golden. She's blonde. Her blonde locks
Okay.
are taken.
Thor's a blonde guy.
No, he's redhead. Oh, yeah.
That
was weird. That was weird, though, that most depictions of Thor in popular culture have him as a blonde, not as a redhead.
Yeah.
That's kind of weird.
Thanks, Marvel.
I don't think it's just
blue eyes too.
I don't think. You'd have to look up a picture of Chris Hemsworth. I don't know. Yeah. So Thor and Sif are sleeping together. Thor wakes up. He sees that his something's off with his wife.
Hold on. What's the guy's name?
Chris Hemsworth.
What color are Oh, those fuckers are blue, dude. Hollywood's a bunch of Nazis. All right. Yeah, that's weird that they don't. Dude, the comic books, he's blonde.
Yeah. No, like many depictions of Thor in popular culture, he doesn't have red hair. We're gonna just quick Google Thor.
Whoa. Whoa. Okay, so Thor is supposed to be blonde. He was only described as red-haired by Christians, but Vikings described him as having gold hair or light hair. They are fucking whitewashing history. Because this shit comes out of the Poetic Edda.
Wait, Gaiman's?
Yeah, he talks about how much he fucking loved that. Like, there's a whole intro by him that we didn't cover. I did not synopsize that. Is that the right word? Synopsize?
It works.
Okay. But he talks about his fascination with that. Copy of Myths of the Norsemen by Roger Lancelyn Green. He talks about the Poetic Edda somewhere in here. Or, I'm sorry, the Prose Edda and the Poetic Edda. I mean, he did a lot of studying. It's interesting that he has him as a redhead. Bunch of Nazis. Because Thor is part of the master race, I guess. Okay, so what did you all say? So Loki fucking gets drunk and steals her hair. Cuts it off. And it's never going to grow back.
I liked Thor. He didn't seem that fazed by it. He's just like, oh, something's a little bit off with you this morning, honey.
Yeah.
Wait, what? What do you mean?
My favorite thing is Thor's logic. When something goes wrong, the first thing I always think is it must be Loki's fault. It saves me a lot of time. Like, he just wakes up, he's like, bitch, your hair's gone. Must be fucking Loki. And Thor's just like, yeah, you better fix it or I'm going to break every bone in your body.
I found that hilarious. It's like, oh yeah, it'll probably take me a while to figure out how to do it, but if I do it every day, I'll be really good at it.
Right. So, it's at this point that Loki's like, the dwarves, they can make anything. So Thor sends him out to get the job done. So Loki goes to talk to the dwarves. And there's two groups. He meets the first group, the sons of Ivaldi, and tells them that Brock and Eitri claim they can make, or Eitri, I don't know, can make better treasures than them. And they're like, yep, nope, fuck that. They're competitive little fuckers. And he tells them that they need to make 3 treasures that are going to be judged by the gods to decide who can make the best treasure. And
I didn't actually get that part. Like, why did he do this scheme to get all these things crafted when all he needed was the hair?
My guess is that the dwarves, he would have had to pay for it in some way. And this was a way he could get it fixed without actually having to pay any money or do any favors or, you know.
Nah, so he's just trying to... I guess, yeah.
I mean, if he walked into the cave and said, here's $100, make me some hair, would it really be a story at that point?
Well, no, it wouldn't. But I'm just saying, why didn't he just? Obviously, you have to have the story. Now that adds a nice level of complexity to it. But just like he could have just asked them to do that, or forced them to do that if he's a god.
Well, I talked about this before. Like, what is the hierarchy of all these people? Because, like, they, like, make weird comparisons once in a while where it makes it sound like maybe the gods aren't all that. I mean, I don't think they're immortal. They don't really make them out to be immortal, right? Like, Loki's, I mean, bearing the lead, pretty concerned about getting his head cut off.
Yeah, but that doesn't kill anybody.
I mean, Mimir's dead.
No, he just got his head cut off, and then
True.
Odin like put some water on it, and he was okay.
But they are mortal
to
because...
keep it from rotting.
No, they are mortal because when Ragnarok comes, the what's-his-nuts is going to burn them all.
But when they die, they go to Valhalla, so they continue to be... They're mortal until then? Then they're immortal?
Yeah. I don't know. If it was me, I'd be like, hook me up with that food and beer, bitches. Mead. I need mead. Alright, well, I see your point, but I think it would kind of cut the story apart if he's just like, I'll trade you my winged shoes for some hair. He's also a selfish trickster. Like, he likes to do this sort of thing.
Alright, so yeah, it builds
fits
on his character.
Yeah. So he gets them to do that. One of the treasures, he tells them one of the treasures needs to be here. And then he goes and talks to Brock and Eitri, or how do you say it? Eitri?
Yeah.
Eitri. Okay.
Maybe Eitri.
So he lays it out, but Brock is suspicious of Loki, that it's just one of his stupid tricks and games. And he accepts the offer, but ups the ante that if Brock and Eitri win, they get Loki's head. And they want to make, I think this is cool, we're either going to make a thinking machine out of it or an inkwell. Like, two very opposite extremes. But clearly they're interested in his head. Which...
They're kind of the same thing.
Yeah. An inkwell?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, I suppose. I didn't think about that.
Machine. Just different variations of it.
Yeah. I mean, you could write down all the knowledge in Loki's head because the ink would, like, maybe do something cool, magical. I don't know. Loki accepts the offer, but he's worried that Brock and Eitri will win, so he schemes to intervene so they surely won't win. And they begin forging. Now, at this point, they don't really focus on the sons of Ivaldi, but they look. This is mainly about Brock and Eitri. So the first treasure they forge is out of
Broke.
Huh?
Broke, not Brock.
Is it Broke?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I just
Brock in Pokemon is spelled with 2 O's.
Isn't that Brook? 2 O's?
I thought so.
I thought it was Brock.
Yeah, I'm dumb.
No, you're not. You just...
I don't know how to read
A C is pretty close to an O. Anyway. I don't care however you want to fucking pronounce the motherfuckers' names, dude. The first treasure they forge is out of pigskin. And this is the important thing. Brock needs to pump the bellows at an even pace, not stopping, so the item is perfect. But during this time, a fly flies in the open door and lands on the back of Brock's hand and bites him. But he never stops pumping. And out of that, you get a boar with bristles of gold. And next, they forge a block of gold. Same scenario. He's got to keep the bellows pumping. Perfect. But The fly now, which, if you haven't picked up on it, is Loki. Remember, he can transform into anything.
Wait, that's Loki?
You don't have to be an ass about it. I think we kind of brushed over the fact that he could transform into stuff. He bites his neck to the point of drawing blood, but he never stops. And we have the gold ring Dropnir, or Dropnir, was forged. It's German. We got to think German.
No.
Anyway.
I wasn't so good at German.
Finally, there's a very large ingot of pig iron placed in the forge. And again, got to keep the bellows pumping. The fly lands on Brock's eyes and bites his eyelids like many, many times. And there's like fucking blood streaming down, and it's a bloodbath. And Brock thinks he can time it out right, that he can swipe the fly off. But Eitri comes back in and says it was close, and he made it. But he was all over the place, and they're just going to have to see what happens when it's judged. And it's at that point that Loki strolls back in and asks if he's ready. But Brock knows. He knows. He knows. And it's personal now. So they go to the gods, and they have the 6 treasures. So Ivaldi makes... The sons of Ivaldi make Odin a spear. Gungnir. Unbreakable, can penetrate anything you throw it at and won't miss its mark. For Thor, got the hair for his wife, but this is real golden hair this time. And it's ever growing, and it immediately attached to Sif's head, so he was very, very happy. And for Frey, which they don't really say who she is at this point. And I can't remember off the top of my head. And I can't believe I didn't look it up. Oh! She's the ruler of peace and fertility, rain and sunshine, and is son of the sea god Njord. Oh, I'm sorry, his. His sister and female counterpart is Freya, and she was the goddess of love, fertility, battle, and death. Wow. Very, very opposites. Anyway. I cannot say that word. Skidbladnir? I don't know. It looks like it's a silk scarf, but it unfolds into a boat. A really big boat, and always has a fair wind wherever it goes. So then you got Brock and Eitri's gifts, right? For Odin, they give him the golden arm ring Dropnir, which every 9th night will produce 8 more rings like it to do as Odin sees fit, which is pretty fucking cool. You don't think that's cool?
No, it's cool.
I mean...
Unlimited wealth?
I don't know what a guy with all the wisdom in the world really needs unlimited wealth for. I was kind of thinking about that.
Yeah, you'd think you'd have a way to make money already. Or make money obsolete.
Stack money. Make paper. For Frey, we have Gullinbursti, the golden boar, to pull her chariot faster than any horse, and never a dark night that its golden bristles will not give light.
I found that very interesting. They pretty much have a car.
Right.
Or a airplane.
Right.
But BC.
Right. I mean, that kind of goes into the ancient aliens thing. That the aliens were always here.
Yeah.
And that was how these people explained it.
Anunnaki, man.
I don't know, man.
Have you gone to Anunnaki? Chariots of the Gods?
Chariots of the Gods?
Yeah, yeah. It's your wheel well.
The book? By Eric von Daniken?
Yeah.
I think I heard about it. I don't know. I'm sure it was in that book that I just got done reading. Because they were actually suggesting that. And then finally for Thor, we get the great Mjolnir, the lightning maker. Thor's not the god of thunder. Is he?
Thought he was the god of lightning. Oh, he's called the Thunderer.
Yes. There we go.
So maybe he's not the god of lightning.
But he has a hammer that'll make lightning. But okay, so it will not break. Will hit anything it's thrown at, and will always return. Which Thor has a problem when he throws stuff because he's so fucking strong. Then he puts on his belt and he's twice as strong. Here's an idea, Thor: don't put the belt on when you're throwing something. And it can change size so that it could be tucked into his shirt. But because Brock fucked up, it has a really short handle.
Yeah, I don't see how that matters.
That it has a short handle?
Yeah.
I mean,
If
Thor
it can...
pretty much says so, but they're just embarrassed because it doesn't look like a real hammer. They don't think it's good enough.
Were they expecting like a sledgehammer kind of hammer?
Yeah.
Like a war hammer?
Yeah.
But if it can grow to any size, couldn't he just extend the shaft?
The proportions wouldn't be right.
But if it's a magical hammer...
I think it grows and shrinks proportionally.
But why? If it's magical, couldn't
I don't
you
know,
just...
dude, but the dwarves are proud people. They make the best treasures. Like, they really talk these dudes up. Master fucking craftsmen. They're like fucking Freemasons. They make all the good shit.
So you're saying the Freemasons descend from...
Dwarves.
Dwarves.
Right.
Or dark elves.
Right.
That's a question. You got a writing utensil?
No.
Or since you got a fucking computer, you transcend?
I transcended it.
Oh, shit.
I mean, there's a magic marker up there, but I don't think you want to go magic marker on your...
It doesn't matter, it's just a book.
It's over there. It's on top of the thingamajabber.
This is a Sharpie, not a magic marker.
That's a magic marker. That's what you call them, isn't it? What do you call a magic marker?
I don't know, not this.
Okay.
It's a good question. I have to think about it quick. Usually they change colors. You ever see those? You got like
yeah, that's called a color changing marker.
But it's magical.
Anyway, the gods decide that Mjolnir is the greatest of the gifts. So Brock moves to collect his debt from Loki, but Loki runs away. And then Thor's like, yeah, I'll go catch him, because he wants to use his new hammer. It's a pretty sweet hammer. It's like hammer time. Loki finds a loophole, and that he promised his head and not his neck. So he can't cut off his head, because he didn't say that he could, take his neck. So Brock, consults with Odin, and the kind of work between where he can work within the rules is Brock gets a leather strap and sews Loki's mouth shut. And they say that the inability to talk hurt Loki more than the sewing of his lips. And just to kind of quote the book, that was the thing about Loki. You resented him even when you were at your most grateful, and you were grateful to him even when you hated him most. So, I know they consider Loki like a god, but isn't he like a depiction of like the devil? Like the trickster? Get you to do stuff you shouldn't do. Maybe take that context out of it, but the trickster aspect, like that balance of good and evil.
Yeah, but the distinction between like the devil His is more sinister and nefarious. Loki just seems to be bumbling buffoon.
A drunk.
Yeah,
Good
which
point.
is so maybe that's the lesson. Don't be drunk. Then you can't do stupid shit.
Well, I mean, there's that. I think there's also something to be said, you know, be sure of the deals that you're making, right?
He
Be
seems
very.
pretty. He seems pretty sure about the deals.
Loki does, but I mean, Brock and Eitri, I mean, they got to do something, but they wanted Loki's head and they got tricked
Uh,
out of it,
so don't trick a trickster.
Oh, it could be a lesson too. I just figure they do a lot of bartering back in those times, that maybe, be sure of the deal that you're making. Be very specific. Don't talk shit. Get your mouth sewn shut.
Yeah, but the thing with like most stories in which you're trying to, when you tell like a fairy tale, it's to have one clear, concise
Right. So,
moral.
if there's no moral to this, what was the purpose of the story then?
The explaining of how the gods got their treasures.
Okay, fair enough.
I mean, it's
I was looking for something more.
it's
Alright.
it wasn't that the point of the story?
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. Yeah, I think a lot of these different things, these treasures show up later.
Mm, well, Thor's known for his thing.
Well, no, I'm talking about the other ones. I don't really care about
The
the hammer.
spear.
The hammer.
Odin's spear.
Yeah. Well, isn't that kind of ironic too?
The spear?
Yeah. I mean, maybe not ironic, but like, motherfucker hung from a tree and got stabbed by a spear, and then you're gonna give him the spear?
Who pierced him?
When he hung from the tree?
Yeah.
Oh, man, I don't remember.
Because it doesn't say in the story.
Yeah, it doesn't.
Yeah, he just said his side was pierced by the point of a spear, which wounded him gravely. I mean, the other point of the story is to show the characteristics of, I would say, Loki the most. Do most of the stories focus on Loki and like the shit he pulls? Because that was a great examination of his character. From trying to pull an innocent prank that maybe is going to cause him increased suffering for a very long time, to the way he actually tries to get out or try to make amends, but at the same time, like as you were suggesting, that he didn't have to actually pay for it to get shit for free, and then being caught in his trick and then finding a way out of it. Everybody else, besides like Etri and Brock, they're key components to it. But they don't seem, I don't know, I didn't read the rest of the book. I don't know if they show up again. I know Entry.
The dwarves?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think so. Odin pierced himself with the spear.
What a masochistic bastard.
Yeah, he refused everything from the gods. Didn't want any help. allowed him. So. Oh, and then that allowed him to understand runes.
And the secret magic and stuff. I don't know what that means. Unless runes are like the underlying components of reality, the same way that mathematics is.
I don't know. Just says he was uncovering an extraordinarily potent system of magic.
Yeah, mathematics.
Could be. I mean, runes are symbols of some of the most powerful.
This is mine, right?
Yeah. Of some of the most powerful forces in the cosmos. In fact, the word rune and its cognates across past and present Germanic languages both mean letter and secret/mystery. The letters called runes allow one to access, interact with, and influence the world-shaping forces they symbolize.
That's what. I forgot her name. No. Marcone's bodyguard.
Yeah, Freya.
Oh, was it Freya?
Yeah, the goddess of love, fertility, battle, and death.
Yeah, her sword or her axe has a whole bunch of runes that, or she's
Makes
got
sense.
the runes,
Yeah,
rune crew.
Yep. She's a veneer deity too, by the way. What the fuck? Oh wow. Maybe this is a bad book to do.
Why?
Just like I could probably fall down a hole of this shit and just not pay attention to the podcast. I was looking up who Freya is, and it's like one of the preeminent goddesses in Norse mythology. Her husband named Odr or Oder, I don't know how you'd want to do that, in late Old Norse literature is certainly none other than Odin, and accordingly Freya is ultimately identical with Odin's wife Frigg, which that adds a whole nother layer of what the fuckness in Dresden, which is a whole nother topic for another podcast. Oh, there's a Freya salon in Milwaukee if you want to get your hair done. She looks like a fucking badass too, man. Oh, I guess that's maybe like from the comic books though. She still looks like a badass bitch. Anyway, so that's the podcast because I don't know what else to talk about. What do you got? I finished Secret Machines.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Tell me that.
Yeah, I'm super pumped about that. Gonna order me the next 800-page book. That could probably be 300 pages if they just fucking do the type font right. The Continuing Adventures. I don't care what anybody says. It's a fun book. It's fun. I don't know.
It's the most important component of a book.
I mean, some people read books to get scared.
Yeah, but it's fun.
To get scared?
Yeah.
Not for me.
Some people do.
True.
Yeah, it increases serotonin one way or the other.
Oh, that's it? Just a junkie getting high.
It's a derivative of fun.
Just a junkie. Fun junkie. See, this is the part where I normally just ramble on and on and on and on for 2 hours, but I don't think I have anything else.
Yeah. Tall cans in the air.
We're just two cats with two
Oh.
tall cats who could rap because we got two tall cats.
No, there was I thought of the outro or whatever after that. It's like tall cans in the air. Let me see 'em. Fuck you.
That's our outro song?
It could be.
Could be. I don't know if we can get the copyright for
No,
that.
we don't have. We just have to say it.
Yeah. True. I don't know if I want to say that,
Then
though.
it's like tall cans in the air. Let me hear you. And then you go squawk you. Feather
I don't know
fluffers.
that toucans squawk. Wonder what kind of noise a toucan makes. We need a soundboard. We need like one of them trigger things so I can drop some sound effects.
Do it to it.
I don't know what I'm doing. You want to know what a toucan eats? Fruit Loops! Oh, it's back. My sound is back.
That's a weird fucking macaw.
Are you hungry?
No, I'm good.
I redact my statement. I think they squawk. This guy has a pet toucan. This is Toucan Rant on YouTube. That was dumb. Whoa! Toucans do not fuck around, man. I just have a whole new respect for these fuckers. They are kind of scary looking. I think we picked a good mascot. All right. Did you stop it? No.
Oh, you can cut that out. We got the end shit.
This is literally called toucantv.tv. The number 2 can.tv. My life with toucans. There are 256,000 subscribers to this channel. You motherfuckers can come over and listen to us for a little bit. I'll talk about toucans for 5 minutes. Man, its like beak is as big as its body.
Yeah.
I've never really looked at a toucan before. I just, Toucan Sam. Toucan Sam. It's making a lot of weird noises. Alright, I'm done. Sorry. Sorry, folks.